Mike, it's always good to see you again.
You too, man.
Let's start with where we're at today. Big for us baseball nuts, the trade deadline just passed. And if you're a San Diego fan, you're like happy and looking into the future, not so sure. But
Yeah,
in
yeah.
terms of the Dodgers organization, there was a lot of things have been happening. It looks like a youth movement. Some of the faces we've seen for a while. Dustin May now shipped off to the Red Sox. James Outman is now a Minnesota Twin, and wish the best for those folks. But let's start with let's get to Double A. Let's talk about the Drillers, the first half of the season, and impacting the Drillers would be things that are happening at the Dodger level. So let's start with where we've been and where we're going.
Yeah, so it's been kind of a rough year for the Drillers. We started out pretty slow, and the first half was not great, but we were showing improvement as we moved along. So the beauty of the way minor league baseball is structured now, everybody goes back to 0-0 at the halfway point, and the Drillers are playing really good baseball right now. So I think we're 3 games over 500 right now. We're tied with Arkansas for the playoff spot for the second half. Springfield won the first half. They are in first place again in the second half. So if they end up winning it, it'll come down to the second place team in our division will get the second half playoff spot. So right now the Drillers are right in the thick of it. It's exciting, and we're getting some help from that trading deadline too. We're getting some new players.
I want to get into that, but you've also had some players that have been constants this year, and you've got a core that people are used to seeing and hearing about. Your thoughts
Yep.
on that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been that starting rotation has been really good, and they've kept us in ball games all year. I think we've won like 21 run games this year, which is important. Obviously, you've got to be able to win the close ones. Um, our starting pitchers have done that for us. Jackson Ferris, who's the number 3 prospect in the Dodgers organization, he got off to a little bit of a slow start, but he has been dynamite lately. Every start here in the second half has been great. I think he's probably on a 7 or 8 start run where he has just pitched fantastic. Um, One of our other starters, Campos, has been great, consistently giving us competitive performances and quality starts. Peter Hubeck won Texas League Pitcher of the Week a few weeks back. He's on the IL right now, but we hope to get him back into the mix. He's been dynamite for us as well. So the starters have been really the story. The bullpen was really the weakness of the first half, and they have made a tremendous turnaround. So we just went through a stretch. We played a 6-game series against Springfield, who was the best team in the league without question. First place in the second half, won the first half. And our bullpen, I think, gave up 1 run in like 20 innings pitched during that series. We won the series 4 games to 2. So the bullpen is now a strong suit, the way that they have been playing, and it's given us a lot of confidence.
You'd mentioned impact on the team from trade deadline. Talk a little bit about
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, so typically when you're dealing with the Dodgers, they're out trading minor leaguers away to bring in those major league ready guys. And at the deadline, the Dodgers did some of that, but they also moved a couple of major league pieces and restocked the farm. So the Dustin May trade you alluded to before was really good for the Drillers in that we hate to see Dustin leave the organization, but at the same time, he brought back a nice haul from the Red Sox. We got two outfielders back from them. One named James Tibbs III, and James was the number 13 overall pick, first round pick last year for the San Francisco Giants. So he is a very highly thought of young player, and he got inserted into our starting lineup here on Saturday night. And then we also got Zach Earhart, who played at Oklahoma State, actually. So he's got a little bit of a local connection. He also joined the Drillers on the same night. They came over from the Red Sox AA affiliate, the Portland Sea Dogs. And those guys are just going to strengthen that offense. So the offense has been a little bit better than we thought they were going to be. And now you add 2 high-level prospects that have already made it to AA in just their second professional season. And you got to feel like, hey, this last month and a half of the season, they're going to make an impact. They're going to make some noise.
I just took myself off stage. I'll edit that. You
Mhm.
were fine.
Yep.
Let's talk just a little bit about what motivates these guys. They're all wanting to go to the show, and one of the things I noticed with the Dodgers, it's not been that long. There were 2, 3 weeks there. They were using, games where they with starters. Where that situation where you have reliever type games. And I know some of the people are coming off injured list. Blake Snell made his start the other night. You've got some others, but kids at this level have got to understand. I mean, they could be in the show in a couple of weeks, depending on what happens at the majors. The Dodgers aren't the youngest team in the world right now. You know what I'm saying? Mac
No.
Muncy's been doing a rehab at Oklahoma City. Blake Snell was doing a rehab at Oklahoma City. And, when you're other side of 30, you start looking over your shoulder, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think the Dodgers do an excellent job of developing their young talent, and they develop it for a lot of reasons, right? Number one, they're developing it to try to supplant somebody at the big league level and improve the LA Dodgers and give them a better chance to win the World Series. So number one, they're trying to do that, but they're so aggressive with their signings, free agents, trades, international signings, and otherwise that oftentimes these young guys get blocked as far as making it to LA, but they get moved. They become very valuable because the Dodgers make them major league ready, whether they're ready to play in LA or for another team, it doesn't matter. So I think these guys are highly motivated every day. I mean, the dream I think is for sure to go and play in Los Angeles. No question. This is their organization. That's where they want to go. But they also are not dumb and they're not blind to the fact that you may not make it to LA, but the Dodgers are going to find a fit for you that may get you to the big leagues quicker. And that's pretty good motivation for you right there. I think we've got over 30 guys on major league rosters right now that wear a Drillers uniform. And so that goes to show you that's more than a full roster. And if it's not with LA, they're going to have opportunities elsewhere. We're excited for guys like James Outman. James has always kind of been like right there on the cusp. He had a nice run a couple of years ago with LA. He's one of my favorite all-time drillers. He was just such a great player and five-tool guy. And for him to move over to the Twins, I think it's going to probably open up an opportunity for him to play more regularly. Another one that comes to mind, a few years back, we had a utility guy named Zach McKinstry. And, Zach just wasn't going to crack that lineup in LA, but they moved him on and sent him to the Tigers. And he was an all-star this year, and he is a super valuable piece of one of the best teams in Major League Baseball. So these guys get it. They know, keep working, and everything else will take care of itself if we keep showing.
I think everybody in the world roots for James Outman and hopes in Minnesota he can become a cornerstone. They just had a
Absolutely.
massive sell-off, and the team is
Mhm.
for sale. You understand that situation better than anybody, the finance end of that. But I think they brought James Outman in to be there for 10 years.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got to prove it. Obviously, there's still a lot of talent that's going to come up underneath it, but he's going into a situation right now where I don't think he has to be worried about the manager calling him in after the game that night and saying, "Hey, sorry, we're sending you back to Oklahoma City. Thank you, and hopefully we'll see you again here in a couple of weeks." Hopefully, he's got this opportunity now with a nice long leash. And baseball players need a long leash. It's hard to go up to the big leagues and play every third or fourth day and sit on the bench and lose that groove that you have to get into. You have to get into that flow in baseball, I think, to really be consistent. And so hopefully he's going to get that opportunity to play, 50 games here to finish out the season and be in that lineup every day and start to find his groove again. Because he's a perfectly capable guy and he's a tremendous clubhouse guy too. So the Twins know what's up. I think their GM had come from the Dodgers. He was our farm director at one point. So they are very, very well aware of the talent in the Dodgers system. It was not surprising to see the Dodgers make a deal with those guys.
Yeah, he's a smart guy, and they've still got a 1-2 punch at the top of the rotation. They still got lots of talent. I think the Twins, people writing them off in the Diamondbacks, like no, got a really good players in
Oh
return for
yeah,
these people they moved.
Dale Dale Central is always kind of a kind of toss it up in the air and see which one you catch type of grouping. So I mean Detroit right now is pulled out. Last year was Kansas City who got it. Minnesota has been in the mix for the last few years. They got themselves out of a couple of contracts. I think that was beneficial. That Carlos Correa deal was a pretty expensive deal. He probably wasn't earning his way back on that. So moving him back to the Astros may have been a good fit for everybody involved. And then it'll free up some opportunity for the Twins and whomever maybe their new ownership is to go in there and be aggressive on the free agent wire this offseason.
Let me ask you about the rest of the season. I'm wondering, so these players know they're not going to be traded up and down the affiliates. I'm wondering, do you see any of there's a couple of really highly hyped prospects at A ball. I've
Mhm.
even seen some of them, the A team being on MLB,
Yeah.
my app some. What sort of changes from a roster standpoint can you share with us? I know you're privy to this information. You can't tell everything, but your roster for the next 60 days.
I got to be honest with you, Scott. I would have said a week ago before the trade deadline, we were anticipating like what day is it going to be that Zaire Hope and Josue DePaula just showed up in Tulsa. These are the two major prospects, outfield prospects that you're referring to. We thought, okay, they're going to get dealt at the deadline for some major league help potentially, or if they don't, they're going to probably be in Tulsa maybe as soon as next week when the Drillers return to town. And then they went out and traded Dustin May and brought in two more outfielders that slotted right into our lineup. So I would say, offensively, we may be pretty set, short of an injury. We may be pretty set here for the balance of the season. Great Lakes is making a playoff push on their own. And so it's not a bad thing for Hope and DePaula to finish out the season with them. If our guys, Earhart and Tibbs, if they do really well, they'll have an opportunity to go up to Oklahoma City next season potentially. And then maybe that opening day lineup includes DePaula and Hope. So we're hopeful to see Hope and DePaula here eventually, but we're thrilled to death that we got two very, very high performing guys that have already reached AA that just joined our team and are going to make a positive impact.
We have great management and a great manager, and we're now getting into the dog days, and the push is on. The way the roster shapes up, the way the schedule is shaping up, look into the crystal ball and tell us what kind of baseball that Driller fans like me are going to be looking at, for August. August is here and September's just around the bend. So thoughts on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, our last 12 games, 6 at home against Springfield, and then 6 on the road against Midland. Those are the two teams that won the first half. We took 4 out of 6 in both of those series. So I think we're feeling pretty good about it. Eric Wedge, our manager, I think they're playing wedge style baseball now. In those 12 games, we have had a lot of very close, well pitched, well defended games. We just, for instance, here, the finale in Midland this Sunday, we took what did we do? We won 1-0 in 10 innings. Like that's a good old fashioned baseball game right there. We've had a lot of those games crisply played, kind of 2 hour and 20 minute, 2 hour and 30 minute games, 4-2 games, 3-1 games. I think that's what we're seeing right now. I think our defense is as good as it's been since the beginning of the year. We've got a few more bats, so maybe our offense is going to take off, and our bullpen is really hitting its stride, and our starting pitching is still good. I think we're going to see some really well contested, low scoring games. And right now the Drillers are playing as well as anybody in our division. So I feel great about our chances right now. We're going to play Corpus Christi 12 times in the next 24 games, and they've got the worst record in the league on the season. So hopefully we can win a couple of more series there and put some distance between us and the competition.
Play those sub 500 teams, you got to clean up, right? I mean, that's
Take advantage. Absolutely.
Let me ask you before we get to the upcoming dates and promotions, things you're looking forward to. And this may be something, I don't want to get you out on a iceberg on this one, but we're starting, those of us who follow the game closely are starting to see a situation like the commissioner the other day and the alleged incident with Bryce Harper when he was touring and talking to the teams. And we keep hearing the term salary cap. And we keep hearing that, down the road, a year or two from now, we're going to have a real hotly contested situation between ownership and players. And that's one of those, when you look at some teams, their roster, the entire roster is less than some teams in a month, right? And there's some big disparity. And you have the big teams that have the big payrolls. Watching the Red Sox right now, trying to keep, they didn't do anything because of the Dustin May trade as an exception. They were trying to keep under that payroll tax. This is way out in the weeds. This is like CNBC stuff. But your thoughts about, you're running a really well-known team. You've got to work with these players. MLB's doing what they've got to do. What's the situation you're in as you watch there could be some union troubles down the road?
I mean, I think it's just rinse and repeat. That's literally every every time that there's a collective bargaining agreement that's about to expire, we're having the same conversation. So this is nothing different than the last labor agreement and the previous labor agreement before that. Salary cap always comes up. I think Major League Baseball is the only a major league level sport really that does not have one. So as long as that's the case, it's always going to be an issue. The players' union clearly does not want it. They feel like it limits salaries. And then on the ownership side, they want to have it because it'll give them some certainty. I think it will be negotiated. I don't necessarily think it's going to happen. But if it does happen, it'll obviously be complemented with some sort of a salary floor that would make the players feel confident that the system in place will allow for more competitive balance. But then when you talk about competitive balance, more teams have won the World Series in the last 20 years than in any other sport. There is an awful lot of parity. Nobody's won back-to-back World Series since the Yankees did it in 98, 99, and 2000. So, whatever system you've got is not creating some sort of insane, dynasty type of scenario where 2 or 3 teams are winning every year. That's just simply not the case. So, we'll see what happens with the salary cap. I think that's just part of the negotiation. Like I said, it comes up literally every single
Right now, the LA Dodgers are not rated as the top team or the second team or the third. I mean, they're somewhere in the top 10, but they're not the juggernaut that,
time.
people had them in the first. They'll never lose a game. Your
Right.
point is well taken. I mean,
Yeah.
that sort of stuff
Base,
never pans
Baseball's
out.
just kind of special that way, Scott. It is different. David can beat Goliath on any given day. It just is going to happen. It's happened time and time again over the 100+ years history of this great sport. So you can't count on anything, being a guarantee, because you're right. Going into the season on paper, Dodgers are going to win 120 games. They're going to vie for the record for most wins in the regular season. And then what happens? They have a few injuries. The offense slumps. They lose 7 in a row. The Padres are hanging around, and it's going to be a race at the finish line. And there's some teams that feel like they're alive and that they can take down the Dodgers that have built some confidence. So I think it's great for the game. You got a lot of star power on that Dodgers team. You got a lot of teams gunning for them. I'm glad they're not running away with it, though I definitely want them to win it all.
Yeah, and for example, you look at the Tigers, and nobody thought they would be where they're at. I know they had a recent slump, and that,
Mm-hmm.
Mike, if I look at the numbers, that's youth, 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 youth.
Yep. But they're complimenting, they're complimenting it. They do have a lot of young players over there. But again, it's just a well-managed team. They play smart. They have got a little bit of they've got the best pitcher in the game in Skubal, who, obviously that's going to make any team competitive when you have like an absolute lights out dynamite, starter at the front end of the rotation. But they just have built their team in a very complementary way. But it's built around core players that they drafted and developed, and that's what the Drillers do. That's why we're here. That's why minor league baseball is the thing. You've got to develop talent, and teams that don't develop talent will never win. You can't just go and buy a championship team through free agency. It has to be a complementary type of deal. The Dodgers always have 7, 8, 9 guys that they've developed that play absolutely instrumental roles. And you touched on it before. You got starting pitching that gets hurt. They have these injuries and they had to go and play some bullpen games, right? And our guys have to be ready, because if you can throw it in the upper 90s, the Dodgers may say, hey, listen, we're going to give our guys a rest. Let's throw 4 or 5 different pitchers out there today and see if we can steal a win. And you know what? They steal a lot of wins playing bullpen games because they have so many arms ready to go.
Yeah, I think AJ Preller's got the bullpen arms now. I mean, hey, I don't want to tell Wendy. I said that was my last question, but I mean, you're a GM. You've watched this. You've got to enjoy watching the Prellers and the Dombrowskis and these guys and trying to guess with them what they're trying to do
Awesome.
come trade them.
Yep. It's
You know probably
amazing
know most of these
how
guys.
different. Well, I don't know if I know many of those guys, but I'm watching them from afar and I admire how they go about it. And I do think AJ Preller is an exciting guy. You're always wondering, like, what is he going to do at the deadline? And you can't believe how much he gets done when other teams don't get anything done, right? So he's willing to take the risk on trading, minor league prospect capital in hopes of chasing a World Series run, and you got to respect that. I'm a Yankee fan at heart, growing up in New York, and I think the Yankees they give a lot of fans give Brian Cashman the business because he's too protective of holding on. He's too afraid to trade a prospect away and have him turn into a Hall of Fame caliber guy. Preller does not have that same he does not have that same concern. So it's fun to watch. I think the Padres really cleaned up. They did an incredible job. And you mentioned the Red Sox were kind of quiet. Well, their trade deadline kind of started when they unloaded Devers a few weeks earlier, and they're playing like 10 games over 500 since they moved their best player, which is just crazy to think about. But baseball's crazy that way.
Half of them can't shave yet.
Yeah,
It's just,
nor are they trying.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get to the real fun part for the fans. Yeah. And it's your team's out of town this week, I believe, but next week they're in town. So, and it's harder on baseball fans in August than it is in May and April, right? So, but you've got a lot of great things lined up.
Yeah, we are coming back. We've been on the road for 2 weeks, so hopefully the absence makes the heart grow fonder. And the Drillers will be back next Tuesday for a 6-gamer. So we'll be home for 6 games Tuesday through Sunday. We'll have our standard $2 Tuesday, most affordable night to bring a family out to the ball game. $2 hot dogs, $2 drinks, $2 tickets. It's an absolute no-brainer. If you're on a budget, we want to make ONEOK Field accessible, so that's a great night to come out. We'll be back Wednesday nights at Bark in the Park. Bring your dogs out to the ball game and hang out in the outfield in the grass. Thursday night, we're doing something fun. We're doing a sitcom night, and we're bringing in a celebrity appearance, a guy that played on Seinfeld. Are you a Seinfeld fan, Scott?
You bet I am, Jerry.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So next week we're bringing in, we're doing sitcom night, and we're going to highlight a lot of great sitcoms of the last 15, 20 years. We're bringing in Kenny Banya, which was Jerry's adversary there, his fellow comedian and adversary. He's coming in to do a guest appearance and hang out with our fans, sign some autographs, take some pics. It should be a lot of fun that night. Lighthearted night. The theme night should bring a bunch of memories back for folks and hopefully a few laughs. And then we're going to go back-to-back fireworks Friday and Saturday. We have a Marine salute that is happening nationally on Friday night, and Saturday is our hearing loss awareness night, which is something that's really special. We've been doing for about 5 years now, so we're looking forward to that one as well. And then we wrap it up on Sunday with a noon game. Try to beat the heat. We move the game times up a little bit, so noon start to finish out the series against San Antonio, and hopefully another winning series for the Drillers as we try to solidify our chase for a second half title.
Yeah, I love April and May baseball, and I love post-trade deadline baseball. And everybody, every single person, and you guys are contending. The motivation's there and the talent's there, and it's always great to talk to Mike Malaga, who is the GM of Tulsa Drillers. I'll tell you one other thing, the games I've been to this year, I really appreciate you guys do the best job in the world of bringing out talent to do national anthem. I was still blown away by Zach Brown's band's rendition of the national anthem at the All-Star game.
Amazing.
And a lot of organizations have singers. This is terrible to say. They'll do national anthems that's kind of cringy.
And, it is.
And the last one I was there, where you guys had I think a trumpet player. I mean, it just reminded me of Tommy Lloyd in the old Dallas Cowboy days. Some of you people out there are like, who in the heck is Tommy Lloyd? That's who used to do all the anthems in the 60s. Yeah. Anyway, it's such a great organization. Mike Malaga is such a great GM. Everybody with the Drillers. And as we're getting into we're rounding the curve, right?
We are. Yeah, just 3 more homestands left for the Drillers. It's hard to believe that the season has just kind of flown by, but yeah, we'll be back for 6 next week. Then we're going to go on the road for 1, back for 6, on the road for 1, back for 6, and that'll close out the season. And hopefully we'll be finishing with a celebration on the field at the ballpark and a playoff clinching game in the middle of September, and then maybe a magical run here.
Hope so. All right. Well, It's always great to see you. And remind people where you go get tickets, anything that they need to know.
TulsaDrillers.com for tickets. Easiest way, if you want to call, 918-744-5901. But when you're buying tickets online, make sure that you go to the TulsaDrillers.com website. There's a lot of brokers out there, so we want to make sure you guys get the best price.
Roger that. Okay, and make sure you visit that your stand that has the souvenirs. It's a great store, by the way.
It is.
Great.
It's a big league store. It really is.
Sure is. Yeah. Major league. Mike, thanks as always. See you next time.
All right. Thank you, Scott. Have a good one.